Hi, I'm Akinara.
And I'm Rohan Navar.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the latest Shah Rukh Khan movie and the third film of his last year, Dunky, which is co-written and directed by a guy called Rajkumar Hirani, who was embattled in like stuff like the Me Too era, and he's like, what, casually escaped? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, I think he's one of those people far less powerful people have managed to escape. So he's actually
I feel like he's like probably the biggest one in terms of like who's named during that phase, and just like there was like some like sham like investigation from the company that employs him, like Reliance and Indian or whatever, and it was like, yeah, you're good to go.
yeah, and also like Vidhu Vinod Chopra stopped working with him after that. I don't know if that was connected, but I remember.
I mean, yeah, it
there
doesn't
was-
really matter when Shah Rukh Khan is saying yes to you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. None of it matters because he's clearly nobody cares or remembers, and he's making really big movies still.
Yep, but literally like what people would say, king of Bollywood. So like, how does
Yeah.
it matter if like one director's not working with you?
But yeah, the movie itself is
Okay.
regardless of
Yeah. Like
Eddie.
you can point like your finger at any scene in the movie, and I can tell you like what's wrong there. Like that's how terrible this movie is.
What?
You'll not find one scene where I was like, oh, I'm not like annoyed right now.
No, but the weird thing is that like his sensibilities and his just grasp over like the craft has not evolved in like 25 years.
Evolve,
Which is-
devolve ho gaya. Like I feel like, I mean, obviously it's like a teenage memory now watching Three Idiots, but like was Three Idiots this bad?
All
No,
I would argue all his movies are just as bad, and for the same reasons they're bad. And it's a bit stunning that if you've been doing something for this long, you haven't improved.
I mean, forget like improve. Like I don't really discuss terms like that because I do not see any scope for improvement. Like you're so far gone. in
but
terms
doesn't
of, like-
everybody have scope for improvement, especially if you're doing the same thing for like decades? Like,
Yeah, but
गलती
like,
से
I'm saying,
हो जाओ यार.
like, when we spoke about like the Kananjur movie last one, we saw like a filmmaker evolving in real time, whatever. Like like after like a decade and a half of not really caring, producing the same garbage, it finally like glimmer of hope. Like, oh, it's possible. This guy can actually do it if he wants to. But here I'm arguing that it's impossible. He's like so far gone that there's no redemption possible with any frame in this movie.
Yeah, also it reeks of a situation where you're so enamored like by your own reputation, like you feel like you're this person who hasn't done wrong in their entire career, which I'm sure it's very easy to believe if you've made films like, Two Munna Bhais and Three Idiots and PK, all very, very big movies.
Right.
Like they made everybody a lot of money, right? So it's easy to live in that bubble. And this
That's
comes
like
with
they made money, but they won like acclaim from the industry.
claim is, I'm
critics
sure
and stuff.
nobody cares about a claim or whatever.
Yeah, but it
Money
makes them
is-
feel better, right? They're like, no, it's not just making money, but like it's people are like liking these movies as well. The people who are supposed to like know about movies.
Yeah, those are popular movies, like entire generations kind of like enjoyed them. Even like Sanju
Oh God.
was an unwatchable movie almost, right? But like it was a hit. And this one is, I mean, for all it's also a hit, it like made a lot of money, whatever. But clearly like the appreciation factor is not the same, right? Like you can sense that it's not as beloved, especially coming after like Pathaan and Jawan was set up for success. And which makes you wonder if it had come out like independently in some other year, like would people have hated it more than they are already? Because this is like a start to finish a terrible picture, right?
Yeah. Like this is, if we did not have to do a podcast like that, what should I know? And I was like, I would have left it in like 4 minutes. I'm like, I cannot deal with this nonsense.
And 4 minutes में तो कुछ होता भी नहीं है. It's like I mean, it doesn't. First of all, it doesn't really start until like an hour and a half, right? Which all of that stuff you could have just finished in like 20 minutes. Jo this movie takes.
Yeah. Like it's the movie should be titled like Spinning Wheels. Like every scene they take in, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna get done in like 20 seconds, right? Like one person says this, next person says this, but then no, we will turn this into a 20-minute roller coaster. I'm like, why?
So also, see, I understand like this movie is set in a semi kind of fantastical world, just in
Has
terms
to
of what he's aiming for occasionally seems like almost like Amelie or something. It's like highly like stylized.
Stop making movies that actually know how to do filmmaking in this.
No, but then how do you discuss it? You have to put things in context, right?
Of like,
you
yeah,
have to
what they are attempting
aiming
to,
yeah.
aiming for, yeah.
He's not, for instance, doing like an Urta Punjab, you know,
No.
even though it's set
Not.
in Punjab.
There is not an ounce of realism in this movie.
Which is what I was coming to, is like, even though there's no ounce of realism in this movie, it's set against a very real problem, right? It's like this entire state is leaking youth.
Yep.
Everybody brain to hai nahi na. Matlab, a lot of the youth that's leaving Punjab isn't like intelligent. They're just going because
just brain.
Just drain. It's literally like
brain.
No, it's true. Like if you like drive through Punjab ever, it's kind of shocking the amount of, like in Mumbai, the amount of billboards you'll see for like a Netflix show or a Hotstar show.
Right.
It's the same
But it's
over
like,
there.
Leave India ?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Which makes you wonder, like I drive through Punjab pretty frequently. And it makes you wonder every time you're going. Like first of all, it seems very alien. Okay, suddenly for like 1 hour while you're crossing the state.
Right.
It feels like you're in a different universe because what is happening?
Everyone's just trying to like get out of there.
Everyone's trying to get out. Like what is so? But that's the question, right? Anybody, especially if you're making a movie out of it, that's the first question. Like why?
Yeah.
Kyun jana hai tumhe? What is so bad about your life here that you want to leave? Like
which like they turn into like a comedic thing, right? Like they give us like, इसके लाइफ में ये नहीं हो रहा है, उसके लाइफ में वो नहीं हो रहा है, उसकी माँ का कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, और उसको उसकी some sewing machine he cannot tolerate, like some nonsense, right? This is like the sensibility of the movie. They don't want to, they cannot even think of approaching this very serious topic seriously. They're like, so we go like full other tilt.
Yeah, I mean the Taapsee thing is semi-serious. I would argue like there is like some amount, at least the way it's delivered and performed in the movie, it's like, oh no, we're losing our house, this, that. But
right.
That is the problem. I understand that. But have you tried to solve it here? Like at least show me कि तुमने यहाँ पे क्या करा है, and then you failed at that, and then you're like, oh, I have no hope now here. We don't see any of it, right? We don't see any of these characters do the regular thing, you know, find jobs here. I don't even know if they're educated. They don't seem particularly
and if anything,
educated.
They seem to actively try to get out of their jobs.
So, I mean, see, that is also, I wouldn't ding the movie on this, because a part of the, I don't know, overarching like statement that this movie is making is that a lot of these people are they're living in a myth. Like they're believing in something that isn't real. They're believing that a better life awaits them outside. That's not true. You know, whether or not that's true is another question. But what the movie is saying is these 5 people thought that they would live a better life abroad, and you're not going to if you're not equipped for it, right? You need to be like,
and like the movie tries to like joke about even that, right? Like they're like, because the agent is like, ye hai, ye nahi hai, bank balance nahi hai, money nahi hai, education nahi hai, but you can still go.
No, but when they actually arrive in London and they realize that person who kind of arrived first, what's his name, Balli, right? He lied to them and this, that. So that what the movie is trying to imply is that all these people go and they, you know, they pretend
they have
like their
life
lives.
there also.
They have a terrible life there also. But then the movie also says कि नहीं, but even though life terrible tha, this, that, whatever, they were making more money, you know, over there, doing nonsense like working at like gas stations, for instance, you know, sweeping up floors.
Even they can't deliver even that straightly. Even that line they have to use as a plug to like, you know, be like, look, we're doing like stuff for like British, like तुम्हारा काम कर रहे हैं जो तुम्हें नहीं करना. Like, why are you trying to like the snobbishness of this movie is like next level sometimes.
No, but like the entitlement of these characters also, they're like going up to like British judges and being like, ये border क्यों exist करता है?
Yeah.
How dare you have what the hell?
Like a guy who fought in the army, whose sole job is to protect the borders, I would argue, is now discussing philosophically why borders exist. I'm like, and he does not. There's not one moment that anyone asks him to kaun hai. He always declares, I'm Fauji. Like, I'm sick and tired. I'm like, why are you declaring? No one asked you.
He could very easily be like some sort of like scam artist who goes from town to town being like, मैं फौजी हूँ, and then infiltrates the lives.
Meet around, like, this sound like Fauji kids are like the perception has built, right? Like, they will tell you in the first minute they meet you, like, हाँ, मैं फौजी का बेटा.
हाँ, but तूने क्या करा है?
Yeah.
कुछ नहीं.
Yeah, so he actually फौजी है. Like, just someone can probably like ask you, but नहीं, मैं फौजी हूँ. Okay, but no one asked you.
chalo, whatever, that is stupid. But like, that stuff like, even Taapsee is like, when they are presented with this idea of, why don't you denounce your Indian passport and claim, like, seek asylum in the UK? And Shah Rukh Khan is like, nahi, how can I do that?
Because
Because obviously he's,
full like nationalistic.
he's Shah Rukh Khan, he can't do it, but Taapsee can, right? So Taapsee is like, Taapsee is like fully like, how dare they say that we are not allowed here? पंछी के पास border तो नहीं होता. Like, are you being serious right now?
Yeah.
2 hours into the...
Like right now, are you gonna debate me that why like birds from Russia allowed in India? Like this is the logic you have found that humans are worse off than birds.
All of this I would be fine with if it wasn't framed in the context of a very real problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like if it's like Austin Powers, I don't care what argument you're making.
Yeah, you're free to make whatever nonsense argument, but you can't be like, ये real problem है which affects like lakhs and lakhs of people.
Like Vicky Kaushal set fire to himself in trying to save a woman from domestic violence, and finally we're talking about birds and their visas.
Yeah, everybody forgets about Vicky Kaushal, by the way, who is the instigator. He like literally lights the spark for this thing
to turn into a putla to be set on fire so the movie can progress.
Which, by the way, I watched that scene and I was not prepared for it. Nobody said anything about it, or maybe I didn't read.
I mean, the movie's spoiled for you, by the way, because they put it in the right bottom corner, suicide trigger warning. I'm like, oh,
अरे वो तो ठीक है भाई, but like कौन से level पे trigger warning है? You know, people like if there is a suicide on screen, fine, you're going to have that warning regardless. But just the manner in which that scene is shot, how graphic it is the work of
like this happened with like 13 Reasons Why, and that like they changed the show, they re-edited the show.
No, but that's also it points out like how different our country is in certain aspects, like violence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We are free, like we give such a free reign for all this stuff, like, and it would be like completely
unacceptable.
You up.
Yeah.
And just they talk about like हमारा ये values हैं तो हम sensitively shoot करेंगे certain like intimate scenes, for instance. We won't make them gratuitous. But what is this? It's the most gratuitous kind of scene I've seen in like months and months and months.
Yeah, because the people involved in it like they're not understanding that they're showing a suicide scene. For them, it's like a story grudge to move to the next thing.
Exactly. They're looking at it as a plot point.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all that it is to them, because the entire character is that, no? Like I would argue, like he's a male character, but he's essentially being fridged for the other 4 people to have their plot go forward.
Also, this entire movie hinges on the, I don't know, nonsensical kind of assumption that why couldn't Vicky take a tourist visa? Usko to ek din ke liye jana.
Yeah, exactly. And why is in the world a woman who does not know this guy waiting on this guy to save herself?
No, the woman knew him, no?
No. We are told there was an arranged marriage, and before the arranged marriage could happen...
Oh, it's an arranged marriage?
Yeah. That's what it's so very...
I thought they were like lovers.
I'm like, bro, what? Your Sukhi? She was paired with you for a few days, then she was paired with another dude, and then that's it. You never knew her, and she never knew you. We never shown the father, just shown the door of the car. Like, none of it matters. It is so, like, mind-boggling of... That shows you the level of care, right? Like, if they actually care, they would show Jussie. That woman does only exist to die off screen.
Oh, I thought they were lovers or something. Why didn't I assume that? See, this is when...
For what that they told, like, I remember, is that, like, Sukhi have got, like, like a woman, because he was almost, like, given to him. And then suddenly she was given to someone else.
Oh, acha. No. So, I don't know. I, for some reason, maybe call it, like, benefit of the doubt.
Because the way he's behaving, you would think that it's like some ex-lover or something.
Yeah.
And like, my Sukhi. I'm like, what? Why? Hey, my Jussie. I'm like, your Jussie, bro. Kisi aur shaadi.
No, but like, that is a good segue to what I would have imagined would have been the actual soul of this movie, which this movie kind of completely, bungles like everything else. Is that there is like a tragic romance in there somewhere, and the movie, the Shah Rukh Khan and Taapsee thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's done in such a inept way.
It's almost like it's like an afterthought. They're like, oh, wait, hum bhul gaye ki lead hero inko Bollywood mein actually they have to romance together. So then can we shoot it now on the day? And they're like, okay, but we didn't shoot it for the past 140 days. Ab kar de kya?
No, but it's just the way it's so. I mean, initially though, it's fairly regular. Like these people meet, they hit it off. There's like innocent flirtation and then they're separated, you know. But then after that, first of all, I don't buy कि 25 साल के लिए तुम लोगों ने बात क्यों नहीं करी, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like you fought or there was a decision made.
And it's not like they live in the 60s when they didn't have like telephones or whatever, and you know, like you couldn't reach the
90s.
call. Yeah, you're in the modern day. You have access to technology. You would have been talking non-stop for 25 years, especially given the fact that you both made up your spouse.
Yeah, which you made.
What is that about?
No. So you made up your spouses. I understand. Oh, this is what you want to arrive at. You want to arrive at that moment where they both reveal to each other. कि वो नहीं, वो तो झूठ था, we were just looking out for each other. This, that. Again, it bungles it, right? But I'm not. Forget it. Chalo, theek hai. I'm not even supposed to care about things like why they didn't interact with each other. Ignore all that. Just a sudden kind of revelation that she's terminally ill, right? And the equally sudden death. Which is, and I'm wondering, and I'm supposed to be feeling really emotionally moved in that moment, right? But then I can't help but wonder कि भाई अगर तेरा flight delay हो जाता.
And now I'm thinking like even next level things, like, you know, like if they, for 25 years, if they did not have an actual spouse, this guy's in India, that woman is for some reason in England, I don't know why. Why can't you just move to a third country and live with each other?
I don't know.
What is stopping?
She's
nothing.
Essentially stateless, I imagine, you know, for several years.
No, they all have England passports, you're told, eventually.
She says that they got their English passports only like a couple of years ago, and when they tried to come to India, they were like, you're not welcome here. So what I'm led to assume, what I'm led to assume is that for 20 years they were stateless. They were refugees, right? They probably had one of those UNICEF cards. But, you know, again, what the movie also briefly hints at, another real thing, is that people leave and then they claim to essentially be Khalistanis, right? कि हमारे, in India we are seen as terrorists. And how casually the movie kind of introduces that.
Yeah. It doesn't even use the word Khalistan, that's why, because it's scared like of the repercussions of what would that happen.
So always this tentative kind of, but real life में भी हो रहा है, it's very, very serious and people are dying and everything. But the movie just trivializes such a, and it
trivializes to in such a way, the presentation is so like bizarre and like unbelievable that I'm just like, what judge in the world is gonna actually accept that asylum application? Because the dude that came before you is like, no threat to me, but yeah, threat to my friends. I'm like, in what logic? They would all get rejected.
No, the judge is positively like egging them on to not don't repeat what
like,
your friends
to say them, give them asylum.
वो तो बोला कि don't make the same mistake as your friend. Please just say those 3 words.
Like I have court observers around me, but I'm gonna lie in front of them and basically like do court of contempt of court to myself.
No, and the movie has the nerve to kind of put like images of actual refugees at the end, right?
Oh, don't even get me started there, because that's when I start thinking of like actual refugee movies, you know, like Green Border, like, which I'm like, if you want to make something about like the refugee crisis, that's what you need to be aiming for, not this level of garbage that you've come up with.
It's weird because these people aren't even refugees. They've volunteered.
Yeah, they're not. They want to be expats.
They want a fancy life in England, and bhai tum refugee nahi ho, first of all. So why would you even make that connection in your movie that these people are in some...
I think they're making the connection because like they have been they had to use the routes that other refugees use, right? Like that's the only like connection I can think of. But I'm like, that showcase where they actually do the Dunkey, as the title says, is so, I don't even have words. It's so nonsensical on every level of just like everything that happens. I'm like, wouldn't happen, you would die, wouldn't happen, you would get thrown out, wouldn't happen. Just like everything is like, you know, like unbelievable. I'm like, why are you doing that? There are so many, obviously it's based on a real life thing. So why don't you just show what people go through in real life? Why do you have to make up stuff?
No, which is the thing, right? Which is like, by chance, I happened to watch, I don't know, a month or 2 ago, a video by this YouTuber I really like, right? And this person, what he did was, he went on one of these routes from Central America, essentially going to the US, trying to enter the US illegally. So now he has to basically go to like Panama, El Salvador, all this, and
Guatemala, and then to Mexico, and everything.
Via Mexico, all this. So he's gone through like that killer the rainforest where, you know, it's like like just mafia runs it, all that stuff.
Yeah. All those countries like South of Mexico are basically like the top dangerous country in the world.
Yeah, and then the final leg of it, after having survived for 10 days doing all this, paying people off, एक तो पैसे इतने लगते हैं, all the bribes that you have to pay, all the actual killers you have to avoid, natural disasters you have to kind of survive. Then you end up on those trains, जो like the Sin Nombre wali train, छत पे चढ़ के.
Yeah.
So that, and during all this, there are like families, like 6-7 people running away from like Bolivia, Colombia, stuff like that, escaping like the just disarray that their countries are in. Children, newborn babies, 80-year-old aunties. You watch it and you're like physically like moved, like people are living like this on our planet. And there's this movie which is
somehow turns that into like a thriller of like, look, they're escaping like soldier bullets. They're coming up with new inventions of how to breathe underwater. They're not dying of like hypothermia. Nothing touches them. That's what I said. Like, this is zero ounce of videos in this movie, because every facet of like their journey out of India before they reach like England is just like next level non-second. I'm like, nothing is convincing you. Which is why I brought up also Green Water, is because as you said, the stuff you just said, which is like, oh, he's showing the real stuff. Uska, the European version is what Green Water shows, but like fictionalized. And it's just harrowing. It's like actually harrowing seeing what people are going through. And it's not even real. I'm seeing like a movie. Yeah, maybe it feels like, kuch nahi ho raha inke saath. Also predictable, like when those 3 people join, and they obviously expand the troop from like these 3 to like 6. Before they even begin the invasion, my mom's like, oh, wo 3 marne wale na. Because that's how predictable this movie is. Like, the movie never cared about these 3. Poverty were introduced in Punjab, but now they've given them, so obviously these 3 are meant to die. And the other 3 survive through plot armor. Why is it not shot? Why are 3 shot and the other 3 are not shot? No explanation.
Because Shah Rukh is protecting them. Shah Rukh kills a person, by the way. Fully.
Yeah. Like, why is Taapsee not told to go alone in the tent? Why is the dude have to deliver her? Everything is so annoying in that sequence. I'm just like, kuch bhi ho raha hai. And you're not even using the reality of what you have to go through, right? There is no world where you can go through Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq and come out alive.
And
you have to use the
all of that is off screen. Someone just in a voiceover says, oh, fir hum Pakistan, Afghanistan.
Okay. I'm like, what? These are the most insane 4 or 5 countries to go through on the planet. You just like casually walk through and you reach Turkey. I'm like, Turkey kaise ho gaya? Wahan tak kaise pahunche? Wo to dikhao mujhe.
What? Even that movie, did you see like Beyond Utopia?
Excellent.
Even that movie kind of tells you exactly like kitna.
And that's a documentary. So every minute you're watching, you're like, oh my God, like, something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong. Something has to go wrong.
Someone's going to die,
Yeah. Like there's like a 3-hour track there which has to make up the 12-hour track because the people are messing with you. Why does that never happen here? Where are the agents? They're just like walking by themselves through these 4 countries. They're like, yeah, Shah Rukh Khan ko pata hai kahan jana hai. Oh, he's going east or west, sorry. Wo pahuncha dega.
And the funniest is when they actually like arrive in England and Rajkumar Hirani, I don't know, like unconsciously or what, has this like slavery kind of image.
Yeah.
There's a black man tending to the fields.
Yeah. Full slavery. They're like, oh, yeah, Africa, like, yeah, shit. And I'm like, I lost it. Like that scene was like part of that suicide level scene. I'm like, these kind of scenes, if you accidentally they come into a horror movie, that movie would be like exercised and like talked about for like months. Like, how dare
you? And you'll be cancelled. It'll take you years.
You'll be, exactly. You would not. No one would talk to you. And yahan pe Shah Rukh Khan is appearing in this movie.
It's the 3rd biggest hit of Shah Rukh's career.
Like the gulf between our industry sometimes, between the Indian film industry and like outside is so huge now. I literally feel like we live in a different century.
And yeah, you watch stuff like this, you watch something like as outdated as this, in every way, and then you're just like, ugh.
कैसे बनता है, कैसे अप्रूव होता है, इतने सारे लोग देखते हैं, मतलब these are studio movies, not like किसी ने घर पे शुक्र लॉन्च कर दिया. So many eyes have looked at this and be like, yep, good joke, good racist joke, bro.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, there's, like, you said at the beginning, there's like virtually nothing redeemable about this. Not in a single scene, single moment.
Yeah, which is why I'm like this director is not a path cannot be put in a path to like improvement, because this director is actively choosing to become like more racist, more xenophobic, more like, I don't know, unrealistic, just like everywhere he can find. He's just like, how do I like, so almost like, no, and now I'm thinking of like Sandeep Reddy Vanga, like Rajkumar, he's like, how do I actively insult everyone?
But in a different way, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say this is like 12th fail. You know, this movie is completely oblivious about like actual like hardships.
Yeah.
And but it
Same, yeah. Bobby, that movie took like a serious topic and they were like, let's just make fun of this.
And that movie, I mean, yeah, these people like for same, matlab, ironically, Vidhu Vinod Chopra ditched working with him, but then sensibilities.
दिमाग तो वही है ना दोस्तों का.
Yuck, man. That's...
What an era we are living through. Like the last month and a half, we have witnessed 12th Fail, Sanam, Animal, then now Dunky. Like, where is this industry? Like, how? Like, forget the word progress. Like, where are we?
And these are all like hits, like to be clear. Like these aren't like...
Yeah, these are all, forget these are all hits. The first hundreds of crores were put behind these heroes with like big names. None of these movies are like a small name star. All of them are big names. Like this is supposed to be like the top, you know, it's like this is like the Marvels of Bollywood. Like इतना पैसा मिल रहा है तुम्हें करने के लिए और तुम produce कर रहे हो stuff that was not acceptable in 1915s.
I mean, yeah, but कहने को our country has, the industries have mostly avoided franchises, right? I mean, they are starting to kind of do that, but all these are like original films, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
And originality के नाम पे मतलब
क्या फर्क पड़ता है? इससे franchise बना दो.
Franchise बना दो, I guess, yeah.
Because like, see, there's one part of the industry which is like actively now we know, like, you know, jingoistic and they're acting in bad faith, right? So those like you just ignore because they're like, you're not even trying. You're trying to piss everyone off and make stuff that, you know, is of a certain veneer. But these are people who are not choosing to do that. They're like, you know, they were making movies about real problems in India. And then you give this treatment. And then I'm just like, get out of here. Like, how are you not better than those people in any regard, except for the fact that you're not actively trying to like pull everything down?
Yeah, there's not. I mean, at the end of the day, you're watching a film and you're walking out with the same like gussa and like frustration, right? But it doesn't really matter like what you're frustrated about. It's just like, yuck, I've had a bad time.
Yeah. Like even that's what, like we haven't talked about like sound design, cinematography, because there is nothing to talk about there. It's all so pedestrian or like fake looking, like all those.
No, if you can't even be bothered to go to an actual Punjab ka village and shoot like 2 days over there, then I'm sorry. I'm not taking you seriously, and I don't think that you want to do the hard work, because you're fine with your main Punjab set looking like something that you made like over the weekend.
Like what comes after this, or after the weeks you had? Like, cannot imagine like this going.
I mean,
but I'm sure there is stuff out there.
I'm going to watch the Mammootty film tomorrow, so maybe that will cleanse my...
Right, and wrap it up. That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review with this episode, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening.